we are going to get started in just one moment. So thank you all so much for spending some time together. I see Sandra, other people are introducing themselves. I love it. Well, I'll introduce myself. My name is Rob. I am the Director of Events and Marketing at Power to Fly, coming to you from still snowbound New York City, although it's melting, so now it's mush melt here. So if anyone else is dealing with the snow, let us know in the chat as well, or where you're joining from. But very excited for this workshop on AI tools for designers with our partners at Skillcrush by Power to Fly. So without further ado, let's jump on in. And first, I just want to share here our code of conduct. So it looks like a giant scary wall of legalese, but basically what it means is don't be a jerk. So if you have any questions about the code of conduct, feel free to DM me in the Zoom and I can answer any other questions. But I know we are going to have a great conversation today and a few other tips just to make sure that conversation is as productive as possible. So feel free to turn on your camera. No need to be Instagram perfect. If you're eating a sandwich and want to keep your camera off, that's also fine. Your microphones will be off for the entirety of the event, but we do want to hear from you. So add your thoughts into the chat. We are recording today's session, so the great thing is you don't have to take notes. We will be sending out that recording within the next couple of days, along with a link to the Figma that Tori is going to share in just a moment. So all that will be at your fingertips as well. And finally, we do really want to hear from you. So if you have questions or comments for the Skill Crush team or myself, please add those into the chat. We want to make this as interactive as possible. And I know once we get into the Figma, there'll be a whole other interactiveness as well, but we do want to hear from you, whatever you want to share. And real quick, I just want to tell you also about Power to Fly. Many of you are probably frequent flyers, but if you're not, we help organizations attract top talent and retain engaged employees with solutions that simplify recruitment, enhance employee satisfaction, and drive long-term business success. We are a 100% woman-led company backed by Morgan Stanley. And here you can see some of the amazing stats about our community on this slide. But enough from me. I want to bring up today's featured speaker. And if you've come to other Skill Crush by Power to Fly events in the past, she will be familiar to you. It is Tori St. Clair, an instructor and enrollment counselor at Skill Crush by Power to Fly. Tori's break into tech story began at Skill Crush, and now she helps others write their own. After 10 years as a front desk admin, she made the leap into tech and now guides students through the Break into Tech program with empathy, structure, and insight. A proud queer Latina, Tori's mission is to open doors for underrepresented communities in tech. And when she's off the clock, she's cooking, hiking, or out on the dance floor. So, Tori, without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to you.
All righty. Thank you so much for that introduction, Rob. I also wanted to take a second to shout out Bethany in the chat. She is here as well. She is our design instructor at Skill Crush, and she's just so smart, so compassionate, and we're so lucky to have her here. So to get us going, would you please share the link to the Fig Jam? Bethany, thank you so much. And so if you do not have an account, the way that this is run, you can still jump into this. When we send out the link to it in the email that Rob will be following up with, you will need an account to access that file. But like Rob touched on, you won't need to take notes because you'll be able to, as this webinar is so aptly named, we're going to be talking about tools. We're going to be providing links to specific tools that we recommend. And so you'll want to be able to access those. And so they'll all be here. It'll be in a format that you can continue to access as you implement the suggestions that we make throughout this webinar. And now let's do a little intro to FigJam here. So Some of you are, who are working designers, and maybe even not, are very likely familiar with Figma. You may not have actually, oh, and let me share my screen here as well so that you can just see and watch even if you don't want to jump into the file. So, FigJam is a tool from Figma that is specifically for brainstorming and teams and allows you to kind of just really share your ideas and have people interact with and vote on those ideas and share their ideas as well, which we'll be doing throughout this. And it's really cool and has its own features. So one of them is that I'm going to spotlight myself over here. And that means you're going to be following where I am in the webinar. But you can unspotlight me if you like, if you want to go off and explore. And then you can refollow the spotlight to jump back in to the flow of what we'll be doing. So as you can see from this intro here, a number of the things that we will be doing are going to involve votes. And I'm going to set a little timer. I'm actually just going to set it for a minute and allow you all to chime in. There's going to be a wheel that's going to pop up on the bottom here. Actually, once I set the timer, it'll pop up very nicely, but you can choose different emojis and kind of pop them into these votes and we can count them at the end. And if you hold, when you're putting on the emoji, if you hold it for a second, it'll become bigger. So that'll increase the visibility if, you would like to do that. And so without further ado, let's get going. I don't think the robot takeover is here, but this is some complicated issues, so we'll chime in. So I'd love to know, how does AI make you feel? Let me know by putting in your emoji. So when I put in the timer here, it's gonna kind of pop up the wheel. Well, actually, I think it won't pop up the wheel for you, but you can see on the screen that I'm sharing. Oh, well, it's not doing it as the way I expected it to when we did the testing, but hopefully you see the wheel down here highlighted in purple if you're looking at the screen as well. So you can see the stamp wheel. Okay, I did. And if you can see from my screen, I could have hooked up some music to this. So it could have been like playing like Claire de Lune or something, which could have been fun, but I didn't go so far. Okay, and now how is it that I count the votes? Oops, okay. Getting some. Are they supposed to? Well, it was supposed to automatically count the votes, and for some reason they didn't count in. Hmm, I see. I'm so sorry, y'all. I was supposed to have set this as a vote, and have you stamp your favorites, and then that's where that wheel pops in. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. So, let's end now. And you didn't vote within that time period. So we can just see manually. We'll do better the next time. My brand has been lately, I'm not a robot, so I'm gonna do mistakes and you're gonna see them in real time. And I hope that helps you feel okay to be making your own as well. So some people are saying they're keeping an eye on it and one on my portfolio. And that has 4. We have 4 here. So these are the top 2. Super pumped. Finally, robots can do the boring parts. All right. And honestly, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with it. It has 1 vote, which is perfectly understandable. And I'm so glad that you're here because that's what we'll be talking a lot about today. All right. So let's play AI Mythbusters. So here are some common myths that we hear a lot and see that AI can design a complete website on its own. AI tools always give the same output. Good prompts matter more than tool use, and AI will replace junior designers. So the good news for all of this is that AI is a tool to support your growth, and you can treat it like a junior teammate. They're fast, they have a lot of ideas. Not all of them are great, and they can't create anything meaningful without you there to guide them. So it can be used for generating rough drafts, exploring. Oh, I see. And now, okay, somebody triggered themselves as the spotlight, so I'm going to go back to me here. Yes, obviously it's very highly interactive. It's intended for teams to pop in and be able to do these things. So I appreciate that you all are messing around, but there we go. Um, I am going to try to have a kind of guiding point over here. Um, so it can be used for generating rough drafts, exploring alternative approaches to a problem you're trying to resolve, and it can give you feedback on your designs. It's really excellent for getting over the fear of the blank page. You can just dump everything you've got in your brain so far into the AI and get something to start working with fast. And so we want you to think of AI as a tool to support your growth. You could treat AI like a junior teammate. And this is a lot of what I was just going over. It can be used to explore alternative approaches, generate rough drafts, receive feedback, and get over fear of the blank page. So do you have any ideas of how AI could help you? So now we have this interactive portion here where you can pull a post-it. Ideally, you pull it out of the pile so it's going to be more visible and add your ideas about how you can use AI to help you in the design process. So I'm going to give this a little minute as well. And I'll contribute some things. Hey, awesome. Y'all contributed some amazing things. Diagram outputs. I love that. That's a great idea. I'm not sure exactly like the outputs that it gives you. Ask it to diagram what it gives you, which is a good strategy to kind of help it organize the ideas that it does give you. Ask for weak points you may have missed is something I put in. If you just kind of ask it for like, is this good? It's a little more likely to say like, yes, this is great. So you have to kind of specifically ask for more negative feedback for it to give it to you. Look for hidden issues that I'm missing. Same, similar idea. Brainstorming ideas, getting past the blank page, making something silly while you're getting stressed, and that got a heart. That was my contribution because sometimes I just need to get out of my own head. Generate many ideas quickly, help with quantitative data analysis, help create outlines for presentations, create dynamic titles for presentations. Yeah, titles, that's so helpful when you already have it and you're just stuck at the name, which is always so hard because um, like that's honestly everybody's always got the work in progress name that is like not so good. Outline the presentation based on the parameters I put in, scenarios, etc. Yeah, you got to put in the good parameters. Redesign an app, give devs finished designs without needing a UI UX designer. Yeah, you can use it to help you put together at least the initial prototypes to come up with an outline or skeleton for the structure of the information depending on the intended audience. All right, these are all amazing. I'm so glad that you all are already kind of thinking in this way, or have maybe been using AI to experiment already. Sounds like some of you are. So this is where you come in. AI tools are great at picking up on common patterns, but they might not be the best at coming up with fresh and inventive layout ideas. That's where you can bring an edge to design. AI tools are just as useful as the people who use them. So remember that you are the pilot. The process of um, where of what to prompt AI with, what to get rid of, and what to keep, where to ask for alternatives and dig deeper. This will make the difference in your ability to use the tools well and produce great results. Make sure that what you create best serves the goals of the project and that the design makes it easy for people to quickly find what they're looking for. So you want to be specific with your prompts. And then, as I said, remove what's not useful, ask for alternatives. And I suggest embracing enthusiastic experimentation. Try out different AI tools and run your prompts through different models to get a variety of feedback to integrate into your process. AI changes fast, tools, quality, and free access can vary. That's normal for new tech. And I'll just set that out there as a disclaimer for the fact that, not everything that we're going to be sharing with you today is going to remain evergreen, is going to remain stagnant by any means. That's kind of like the antithesis of the goal for tech. So this is a snapshot of AI tools for designers at this particular time. Protect your privacy. Don't share personal or sensitive info with AI tools. If you wouldn't post it online, don't type it here. Know your options. Some tools cost money or have paid tiers. Try free versions. Test paid plans and see if they're worth it for you to work with. And so a lot of what we'll be sharing here, they're going to have free tiers for you to experiment with, very much on purpose so you can get going. And know that information shared with AI can be used by the company to train its latest AI models. So never share personal information about yourself or others. As a general rule, like try to omit names, addresses, that type of data that you like maybe would think this is Reddit, like I wouldn't share that information there. You can either omit non-essential information or replace identifiable information with placeholder details instead. And do a lot of research. You'll hear feedback from people using tools that can help guide you on which one is going to be best. But in this case, as you'll soon see, there's no best AI tool for everything. There's best AI tools for different things depending on your goals. And this is purposeful because tools are more powerful if they're designed for specific purposes. So you'll want to kind of research what is the best tool for what exactly you are trying to achieve. And know that even once you pay for a plan, you can try it for a month or two and take notes on how much using this tool has improved your process or not. So if you want to take the step into paying for a plan, know that that is not a, lifelong commitment as well. So now let's get going into the meat and bones of this presentation today. So one of the easiest entry points that you can use AI for is talking it out with the chatbots. ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini are great places to start, and they all have free options. Use it to help you make decisions during the planning stages. Talk out your ideas and spitball in words before visuals are even needed. And use AI to help you keep organized. Tools like Goblin.tools, Magic To Do help you break down tasks if you're just sitting there going, I don't even know where to start. It'll get you it'll get you really kind of 75% there in terms of like where you should get going. Sometimes it's, just like all AI tools, it might not give you that perfect plan, but as I always feel getting that over that blank page is really the biggest blocker for me. So having an initial structure to work with is a great place to then go edit and go, actually, no, we actually need to do these other things and add these meetings in and check this and test this, and then you can go from there. And you can use it to spitball in words before visuals are even needed, is kind of the idea here. Like you might not be ready to kind of create the visual layout, but you just are kind of like have these vague ideas that you need to kind of get more clarity on. So here are some general prompting tips. I will be hosting a webinar near the very end of March, March 31st on prompt pro prompt. It's engineering, and I'll be discussing the various levels of prompt engineering and what exactly that means. But here are some general tips. Give the AI a role. So you'll want to say, like, if you are a person who's learning design, you'll want to maybe give it the role of an AI tutor. Or if you are a working designer, assigning it the role of you are a junior designer who works with me on a team will give it its perspective. You could assign it other roles as well, like you are a stakeholder in this type of company, without, giving too many details about the inner workings of your actual company, just to give it an idea if that's the kind of feedback you need, etc. Define the project type. Identify the audience, because you could have all sorts of different projects you're designing for. Identify the audience, brand, and context is huge. As you all may know, design is only as effective as it's made for its particular audience and has to be customized for that. So not just general, not everybody. That's not generally recommended, because then if you are designing for everybody, that usually means you're designing for nobody. So putting in the audience, brand, and context will make a big difference in the quality of the outputs you receive. Describe the desired style or look. And you can upload references with a lot of the tools, including ChatGPT and other chatbots. Specify the constraints. We'll be talking about that a little bit more in just a second. Ask for explanations. Don't just accept what it gives you. Say, why did you choose this over this? Is this really the best option if all these other things that I wasn't able to give you in the initial prompt are actually a factor? And then you can drill down into whether or not this is actually the right input that you're looking for, or it's kind of missing some things that you didn't think of until you were kind of back and forthing with it. Ask for variations and request multiple outputs, and give the AI feedback. Don't just settle for the first results. So using a prompt template can help you get started. OpenAI Academy has prompt packs to help you get started for various job roles. So you can look up designer on their prompt packs. And the ChatGPT for product prompt pack includes starting prompts for research, testing, content, UX, and visual design. Prompt Advance has ready to copy prompts for design that can be used with any AI chatbot. And you might want to, when you're using it to keep you organized, which is something I suggested as a good usage for it, you might want to say, as an experienced web designer, help guide me through the web design process for creating my type of website. Let's start by brainstorming the main purpose and goals of the website. So let me back it up a little bit here. Oh, okay. We give these prompts examples a little bit. We give more prompt examples a little bit later. And you, oh, I wanted to touch on also when you can use it to evaluate patterns and trends from other websites to make recommendations. Make sure to include relevant context about your project, such as what type of information will be included and who the audience will be, and include references. You can say, as a web designer, help me plan content for this type of website based on similar websites, make suggestions on the following, and give it hard kind of criteria for what you're looking for, like how many pages to include, an example sitemap, what context should be included, and on each page, include relevant example links. Um, I'm gonna go, sorry, y'all, I'm gonna go back to this one here because I want to elaborate more on just a few more things. Um, so you also might want to contextualize it as the role that you give it as an expert web designer to also kind of like give it instead of like your junior, and then it will try to give you higher level answers. That of course you will still have to use all of these things for, like asking for multiple options and really drilling down into what the purpose is for what you're getting into and customizing it for what you're trying to accomplish. Um, and give it what exactly it's like, what is it designing? It's designing a homepage layout for a portfolio site, as an example. And then with the project type, you might want to say it's a logo or icon set or business card or website layout or social media graphic. And then with your audience, you might want to say it's young professionals or eco-conscious shoppers or tech-savvy users, a luxury market, and so on. The more specific you can be, the better. With desired style and look, you might want to say that it should be minimalist or Bauhaus inspired or playful or retro 90s or 2D or have organic textures or bold typography and so on. And then you can upload a reference. And then constraints can be anything by providing the dimensions of the project, sharing brand colors, including style references, or generating a company. And so you might want to say, as an example, generate a company tagline for a playful children's toy store that is catchy but under 30 words, and that would be the constraint. And then when you ask for explanations, might want to say, explain why the first font pairing instills a greater sense of trust and professionalism than the second pair of fonts. If that's what you were asking for, you wanted fonts that instill trust, then have it explain why, and you may not agree with its reasoning. And what makes this design layout engaging? Include 5 additional ideas to improve the text hierarchy. And then when you ask for variations, it's good to be as specific as possible. Like, I want to have 5 different logo concepts or show 3 business card layout options. 5 and 3 are generally kind of like the max of what you want to give it for quality's sake. But you can say like 10 if you want. And then when you want to iterate like a creative director with the outputs it gives you. So you can say make the color softer, add more white space, try a bold word mark only, no symbol. And when the AI comes up with the common layouts that primarily work for your users, but you need to make a few adjustments, you can use AI to continue your brainstorm. Like if something that is special and different about your company that's not standing out in a general layout. The company for this website specializes in, please help me in blank. Please help me come up with some suggestions to make sure this stands out prominently to users. So just as like a um, caveat to this is that still, although they're improving on this, a lot of AI tools lose their context over time. So if you are iterating so much that you're realizing that it's starting to kind of lose the plot, it might be better to start a new prompt. Or a new space, whatever it is that you're using, and pull over the learnings that you like the most from the previous conversation and start the conversation with that, just as, just from experience of working with them. So if if AI, if you I talk about AI being a great tool for getting over fear of the blank page, but what if the blank prompt window in your AI chatbot has you feeling stuck too? Then that's where those AI prompts that I have over here can be really useful. Okay, so now let's get into some specific usage points throughout your AI, throughout your design workflow, and what kind of tools and how you might use them. So the more specific the AI tool for a particular process, the more on point the results. So you can wireframe with AI tools. Figma AI First Draft lets you use text prompt to create a wireframe or basic version of your project. Stitch, you can use with a Google account and Google Gemini to create designs with the help of AI. You can switch to experimental mode to upload a reference image. Visibly use a text prompt or upload an image, including a hand-drawn wireframe to create, which is my preferred way of brainstorming initial wireframes, to create a design that you can edit and refine. You can even browse free stock images from Pexels, Unsplash, and Pixabay within Visibly. And then if you even if you don't plan on using stock images, it's just really great to create a mood and really get that kind of more finished feeling when you're not sure how it's going to look when the content is put in. And then you wizard, it's a fun one. Wizard, maybe. Create a design from a text prompt or an image, such as a screenshot or wireframe sketch. And at the top of the workspace, you can toggle between mockup and wireframe modes. Oops. Um, and Figma, just so, as some caveats, Figma AI may not be available in all plans, but if you have a sparkles icon in your little toolbar on the bottom, for actions on your toolbar, you should have access to the AI features. They were releasing this on a rolling basis. So we realize that some people don't always have access to it. And if you don't, it's very likely that you will soon. And yeah, just keep an eye out for things like that. If I'm like mentioning that this has an AI tool and you're like looking for it and not seeing it, that is a common method to release things on a rolling basis to certain amounts of users at a time. Especially if you're brand new to the tool, they're much more likely to release it to people who have been using the tool for a while to start gathering some feedback as they do their deployment. And then let's do a little backing up here. You can generate visual design ideas with AI. I recommend Chroma to start by choosing 50 colors to make a personal algorithm for selecting colors you prefer. So you can it gives you a bunch to kind of narrow in on your taste. Save color schemes to your library. Color Mind uses deep learning to help generate color schemes based on photographs, movies, and popular art. You can lock colors, adjust others, and use the generate button to show new options for any unlocked color swatches. You can choose font pairings. FontJoy generates font pairings with the assistance of deep learning, and lock the fonts that you like and press the generate button to replace other fonts until you find a good fit. And then you can also use it to create text content. So Figma AI, rewrite, translate, shorten, and replace content all under Figma. They have various ways to use AI tools to improve text in your design. Quillbot has a variety of writing tools and even a browser extension to make it easier to work with. These include a grammar checker, AI chat, and more. There are limited features on the free plan, but it's a good place to see if the tool would be helpful for you. And copy.ai allows you to check out they have a variety of free tools, including a bio generator, grammar checker, email generator, and more. And for image generation, Adobe Firefly, um, if you have an Adobe Creative Cloud plan, you can use Adobe Firefly to create new AI images from prompts, even using reference images to refine the style of your images. Without an Adobe paid plan, you can generate a limited number of images for free to try out the features. So I was going to caveat that Adobe is and Adobe Creative Cloud are absolutely paid. So some of you may have it already. So I want you to know that this exists as an option for you, but you can also try it out for free just to give yourself an idea of whether or not it's even worth you investing. Then other tools that we recommend checking out are Ideogram, Leonardo AI, Recraft, and Nano Banana. 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 Recraft, and and they all have very fun logos. And then you can use it for feedback and revision. And here's some hard written AI prompts here. So um, you can export your design and upload it to an AI chatbot and ask for feedback on the design. And you can try this prompt as a starting point or craft your own to ask for specific feedback. I am a web designer, UX designer. Provide design feedback on the uploaded type of project, such as desktop website, mobile app, or other. Pay close attention to typography, visual design, and hierarchy. Offer suggestions on how I can improve the design. Give priority to usability and accessibility. Or you can say, I'm attaching the 3 wireframe concepts for a project type, like for a logo. The goal of the project is to, you know, make people hungry, make people like kind of feel like they're in a luxury setting. Please offer me feedback on the pros and cons of each design. Ultimately, choosing one option as the best direction with reasons why that was the top choice. Figma. And then sometimes when, just as another caveat, having experience, sometimes when you list these, it won't always break down every part in your request as thoroughly as you would like. So feel free to iterate and keep asking for more details on areas that it may not have touched on as much as you like. And then here are some Figma plugins that can allow you to get feedback on your designs. On Beacon allows you to review your Figma designs. You can do 10 reviews every week on a free plan. Feedback Wizard AI, get either UX, user experience, or UI, user interface feedback on your design. AI Design Critique Assistant, choose a frame and add additional context before asking for a critique of your design. I know all of you all here are at different levels in your design journey, so we just like to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Um, and then you can prepare your files for next steps once you've finished as well. So AI features to export files, there are included in a lot of design intended tools. Many, they come with features to export in useful formats like PDFs or PNGs. Chatbots can also format your results in a way that's easy to copy and paste into particular programs, or even walk you through how to use your results in the program. So you might want to say, I have a wireframe that was generated by an AI design tool. I want to recreate and improve it in Figma. Can you walk me through the step-by-step on how to do that? Specifically, I'd like help with which Figma tools and features I should use for each step, like auto layout, components, constraints, prototyping links, etc. Setting up my Figma file and frames to match the wireframe layout, turning wireframe components into interactive clickable elements, buttons, links, etc., organizing layers and components so the file stays clean and reusable. So some tools will make this a lot easier to do within them. And these types of features will only increase over time. But I will say, as somebody that just is in tech in the tech world, it's a constant hardship that the tools don't perfectly match together. People have different companies have different goals in mind, different favored outputs than others, and you'll even if they have an additional add-on tool for something that you're trying to do, you'll just favor this other tool so much more, which gives you more powerful, specific, or more programmed to your taste feedback or I mean output. And so you won't want to use their tool. So you'll be transferring between tools all the time. And so knowing that you can use it to help you streamline that process can really help you save a lot of time. And then there are AI tools and plugins to help prepare your designs for smooth handoff. Like Figma has rename layers. Use AI to help rename your layers for uh, cleaner, easier to navigate files. And Design Doc needs, if you need specific measurements for your design, and it'll help you generate them with a single click. Dimensions, another Figma plugin that allows you to add annotations to your design and choose from a variety of options. So you're going to be bringing it all together with all of these things. But um, that's what we're going to get into. here. So AI can help you at each step, but you bring it all together. So what are you bringing to the table? This will go to the left here, if you will all chime in with some ideas of where you'll be kind of bringing in your design expertise as you use these tools. I'd love to hear whatever your thoughts are. And I'm going to set a timer and then I will chime in if I can, but I am going to take a sip of tea um, throughout. I'm loving these. If you can see me giving you some eyebrows, this is some good stuff. So one person put here, I am the tweaker in chief. Love that. Can we make that an actual role? The TIC. I view the options from AI, add, remove, and insert, recombine, then keep what I want. From Dr. Greg. Thank you for signing. And your taste, that is huge. No, AI doesn't have that taste that you've developed by your experience as a human, your thoughts, your reflections, your observance of trends over time. As we all know, what was taste from a one time period changes in another time period. And sometimes things come back around, but they're usually kind of iterated on, they're revised and they're made new again. And that's a very uniquely human. Knowing which patterns will and won't work for the audience, and another person put over here. Um, a human voice. Yeah, I love that. Somebody also said audience, no, and context and history with the client to know what they already like and don't like. Yes, nobody knows your client like you do. And it's a good starting point, but it needs refining. A human voice. AI sounds very AI without personality. It's very true. Learn about AI as much as I can. Yes, learning about and using the AI is something that only you can uniquely contribute. So we're going to do just a quick little, actually, maybe we don't have the time for it. I wanted to show, well, okay, I'm already talking about it now. I've already got you interested. Why are there so many pages here? Here we go. I think maybe he's adding pages. So I just want to show you just in real time. Even FigJam has some AI tools that allow you to do things like we can take these and we can organize them. So we can sort the stickies by topic, and this is actually an AI feature. And you'll observe, well, let's see let's see what you'll observe. Okay. So it organized by things by size and condition and temperature and color just from these random words we had put in. But you can see it's like, it's not perfect. It says things like bouncy as a color. Sharp, sure, I could use that as a descriptor for certain colors. I could maybe stretch that there, but I never really described or put a color as in bouncy as a category in colors. So I hope this kind of helps you really see how much it really needs your input just as like a little quick exercise. And there's other options here in FigJam that allow you to just kind of display these in a more organized way. You can summarize it, which is also really a cool thing if you're all I actually could have done that with our answers in the chat, but we're just gonna do it as a quick exercise here. So it's like color palette, physical properties, condition states, and that's what these categories are about. And it can be very useful to do that type of thing. All right, now let's get back in here. I see that I only have one follower for my spotlight, so you may have lost me. You can see it, that little exercise I did under page 16 over here. Stickies and AI tools. Yes. You know, okay, cool, cool. In the past, I've accidentally lost my spotlight. These are some great ways that AI can help you with the design itself, but what about the other work you do as a designer? You can use it to help you create client questionnaires. Talk to the chatbot about what type of client you're working with and what type of information you want to collect. The goals of her website, her audience, her competitors, and a few inspiration sites, anything you think would help you design her site, because the more inputs, the better. You can even ask the chatbot to create a PDF you can download or help guide you in creating your survey as a Google form to share with your client. Uh, here we go. I also wanted to touch on just real quick when we were talking about what you can bring to using AI tools and all of your great ideas over here. You also bring strategy, prioritization based on users, stakeholders, your team and company goals. You bring your collaboration skills with other humans because, as you know, you're oftentimes not creating in a vacuum, unless you are just designing for yourself. But even if you're designing for a single client, you're not creating in a vacuum, and you can read the body language of the people that you're working with. You can understand human emotions, cultural, societal contexts, and new creative paradigms. I always like to think about if you were to plug all of the classical music that exists and you lived in the time of Beethoven, if you plugged it into AI, it would never predict rave music. A lot of things had to happen historically for rave music to happen, including the development of new tools, of new instruments. But that just really speaks to how there's just so much that you need to observe as a human and factor in order to create and drive change and creativity, and your drive and your passion. Don't forget that. All right. So you can also, oh, here we go. You can use it to craft professional emails as well, that are polite, direct, and actionable with ease. You can work with clients with strategizing, prioritizing, and negotiating, are the place you shine as a human making designs for other humans, but AI can help. So we won't pretend that working with stakeholders, clients, and users is all daisies and rainbows. LLMs can help you turn your frustrated rant into an actionable email that helps everyone arrive at the best solutions. We know you're a great team player, and AI is there to assist. Tell it your goals. Be sure to include everything that you can think of for your clients and or teammates and work with towards the goal. Ask the LLM if anything is missing or if it sees any alternatives you can try before making the outreach. Tell the AI the tone that you wish your communication to be in and what you want to convey, like prioritize impact, clarity, and value. Tailor my response for a stakeholder that has little knowledge of accessibility. Be firm and polite. And now we're winding up. So, from what we talked about today, we talked about shifting your mindset. We touched on this a little bit, as AI isn't replacing you. It's your fast, idea-filled junior teammate. Even if you tell it it's expert, you're going to know that it's going to really miss the spot on some crucial areas that you will notice with your expertise. It's here to boost your creativity, not take it away. You're the pilot, AI is the co-pilot. Guide the tools with clear prompts, iterate thoughtfully, and make sure every output serves your design goals and users. Choose the right tools for your task. Specialized tools create high quality results. Use AI as a creative partner. Generate rough drafts, explore design directions, overcome blank page fear, get quick feedback to refine your work. and bring the human edge, your taste, strategy, empathy, and cultural insight, and the fact that you are the tweaker in chief will allow you to turn the AI output into meaningful human-centered design. And then just to throw in a few last suggestions here. I really, suggest you start experimenting. Try task-specific AI tools that are built with knowledge around certain tasks. ChatGPT has custom GPTs, so that it has dedicated Creative Brief Maker, Color Palette Pro, Design Lens, Claude Artifacts, Email Writing Assistant. Claude Artifacts are basically like the same thing, where it's a AI tool made for that particular LLM. They call it Artifacts. They have an email writing assistant, one-page PRD, which is product requirements document maker, and a mood palette. Oops. And there's more to explore. You can use it for branding and identity design. You could use the AI to build or refine your brand's personality, discover your brand's ideal audience, draft a mission statement, write a creative brief. For visual and UX design, you can use AI to plan page content, create a visual diagram of a sitemap, and create create a user profile or persona, and explore user workflow. These are just some additional suggestions that we didn't have time to get into today. So we would really love to hear from you if you would be interested in a practical course on how to implement AI into your designer workflows, including live feedback, where you would be getting feedback. Even if you're using the AI to give you feedback, you'll be getting feedback from a real human on how you put that into your workflow. So we would love to hear from you and any thoughts you have. We have a survey link here. It'll also be emailed to you in the follow-up email that Rob will be sending you after the webinar today. So thank you so much. That's it for me. I'm going to pass this over to Rob to do the wind up, but I hope you found this really helpful and informative. I hope it gave you ideas that you just didn't even think of that you can implement into your work with design that will just really improve your creative process. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I guess not by yet, but I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, sounds good, Tori. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I love seeing what everyone was contributing. I also added that survey link to the chat here so everyone can click that. Again, you'll get that in your follow-up email. Before we let you go, Tori, I see Pam had a question in the chat. I'd love to throw this to you before we wrap up here. On the experimenting section, are those links to those sites tools? Will we be able to share those if we can't get to the Fig Jam?
I can actually answer that
The
Oh,
here
there
for
we
you,
go.
Tori. Yeah, Pam, great question. The Fig Jam has tons of links, so it would be a really, really overfilled email if we try to include all of them there. So accessing the Fig Jam file, so right now we did have it set up so you could interact with it. After this event ends, you'll still be able to access it, but you do need to have a Figma account. But it can be a completely free account, and after the session ends, you'll be able to view and click on all the links. You just won't be able to edit or make any changes and things like that after the session ends. So that will be the best way. Again, a Figma account can be completely free to access that. And as Tori mentioned, Rob will include the link to that FigJam file after this ends. So that'll be the easiest way. And it'll also have the recording. So you can go back and go through and see the names of a lot of those tools because there's a lot out there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bethany. And kind of on that point, like Kelly was commenting before, that Adobe is great, but is super expensive. So Canva has a free Adobe rival called Affinity. And I just throw it out to you
Love that.
both real quickly, Bethany and Tori. Like, if people want to find, especially experimenting, they might not want to commit to paying money like right now up front. Like, are there any other recommendations where either of you would suggest people find free or, very reduced pricing tools right now as they're in that experimenting phase?
Yeah, we definitely recommend looking for free, either completely free to use or free tiers. And obviously, as Tori mentioned before, that's going to vary over time. Sometimes there's very generous access early on, and that changes later down the road, or they might expand access. We tried to include different links in this presentation that should have generous free tiers, but obviously you might want to dive a little deeper into figuring out what that means. And I know for some people too, using multiple tools allows you to make the most of those free options too. So you might start with a tool like a chatbot to kind of brainstorm, get ideas, and then once you have something, you can format it to be used for another tool that you're incorporating it into. So maybe you use ChatGPT to help you come up with a good prompt for an image generator, so that you're using kind of like your free token allowance in one area before you bring it over
Mhm.
somewhere else as well. Yeah, there are a lot of AI tools. It's hard to know exactly all of them, but you can certainly try to dive into what access you can while it's free. Or as Tori mentioned too, maybe you sign up for a month and see how often you use it and how useful it is in your personal workflow. Because that's really the key
Mhm.
here is making sure it's useful for you.
Yeah.
Mhm. I also want to touch on case in point with access changes. We love Affinity. Affinity is awesome. They used to exist in a way that you would just pay a one-time payment, which was affordable, and then you could access it for life. So they were a direct contradiction to the membership model of Photoshop. But they've since changed their access to be free for Canva users, which you just mentioned, Kelly, which is awesome. Tech is cool in the sense that it includes a lot of rebellious individuals when things get very expensive. Somebody goes, you know what? I'm going to make a version of that and I'm going to provide it for low costs or some different sort of model or even free. So be on the lookout for those when you see a price tag that is just outside of your budget. And
Hmm.
also touching on if you are a working designer, oftentimes your company will pay for that access, and we do like to, just have that little caveat of tools like Adobe are very commonly used in the workplace. So you might consider it worth some time to pay their expensive membership fees for a certain, few months just to get comfortable and familiar with them so you can have that experience on your resume if it's a transition point for you. If you're at a transition point where you're looking for a job in design, that's really the only disclaimer to free software is that they do have different layouts, and it can be a learning curve that can slow your initial process with them while you're getting used to them. So sometimes exposure to the industry standards, even if they're expensive, can be worth it for even like at least a short time if you can swing it.
Yeah. I always say if you're going to do the 7 day trial, put that 7 day in your calendar so you know when you need to end that trial if you're not going to continue with it. But I think you're right. There are so many tools right now, and we're kind of seeing some of the legacy tools being surpassed in some cases by newer tools. At the same time, some of these legacy tools have lots of bells and whistles that you might not need as a beginner, but if you're a more experienced designer, you might want to tap into. So this was also great. As we said, we'll be sending out the recording, or maybe you're watching the recording right now. So thank you so much. And I want to thank Tori, I want to thank Bethany, and most of all, I want to thank you all for watching this and spending an hour of your day with us. So please go out and give yourself a little treat for taking the time to better yourself. And we will be back with some more events with Skill Crush. In fact, we'll be doing another AI event, but this will be on prompting in AI that will be coming up soon as well. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. And